we have a good story to tell. One from which we've changed the narrative, I would say. And I think it's time that Ghanaians knew what exactly was going on with the company. We met a highly indebted company which was being shunned by its creditors, unable to bring in products to trade. A company with crumbling infrastructure, pipelines in disrepair, tanks at the depots also inoperable, and even whole depots around the country which had been closed down. The work of the board and of the management has been to restore the business model which underpinned the establishment of the country. And that business model was based on a network of pipelines and depots around the country to facilitate the distribution of fuel products to every corner of Ghana. So we have pipelines from Tema to Akosombo. Our main depot is at Tema. We then have barges which were meant to carry the fuel from Akosombo up to Buipe, and then pipelines from there to Bolgatanga. We also have a depot, main depot for the north. We also have a depot in Kumasi. But because the infrastructure had broken down, what you had was trucks coming all the way down from the north to fetch fuel from the southern part and then carry it back again, which is highly inefficient and very expensive and also detrimental to the nation's infrastructure. I could say a lot, but I think I'll be preempting what the MD is going to present. So I will stop here before he steps on my toes. But just to reiterate that I feel very honored and privileged to be here, and we're grateful for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
So in terms of our mandate, we're set up to do three main things. The first one is to develop and maintain a national network of facilities for storage, transportation, and distribution of petroleum products. That's our mandate. That we have to make sure that we build infrastructure to store and transport to aid the distribution of petroleum products throughout the whole country. If you have some money to invest in tank farms, would you put it in Bolga? Would you?
The consumption in that part is low.
So would you put it there? No. So BOST is mandated to put the infrastructure there. That means that BOST also has to be helped in one way or another to maintain those infrastructure we put in those places. And that is what explains the BOST margin. I'm sure you've heard about BOST margin. So the BOST margin is supposed to help us maintain and operate that infrastructure. I'll come to it. So this mandate is the first mandate. The second mandate is to build strategic reserves to meet a minimum of 6 in the future 12 weeks of national consumption. This one also, strategic reserve, what does it give the country? Comfort, all right? It's like insurance. And when you have insurance, your car insurance, who pays for the insurance? Who pays for your car insurance? You pay yourself. So if the nation wants to give the citizens insurance, somebody should pay for it, all right? Today, nobody pays for it. Do you pay for strategic reserve levy? Nobody pays for it. So anytime they ask me whether I have reserves or not, I say I don't have reserves because nobody gives me money to buy the reserves. But I have some small storage there that may last about 14 days. But I cannot call it reserve because I have to go and borrow money to buy the fuel, and I just can't keep it because I have to pay back the loan. So I have to keep selling the fuel to pay back the loan. Then the third mandate is to bring in fuel for petroleum security and also export. Ghana is situated in a very strategic location where we can trade with our neighbors, landlord countries, Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali and co. So those are our mandates. Now you can see that this mandate has a dual purpose. It's a dual mandate because one, BOST has to make money, a profit motive, and also provide a social service. You get it? Because all of you profit-making people, you put your money in Accra. You won't send it to Bolga. So that aspect, we provide both, because every storage and transportation we do, we make some money. So it's a dual mandate, both social mandate and a profit mandate. This mandate is strictly a social mandate. We don't profit from this. This mandate, the fuel security bit is a social mandate. The export bit is a profit mandate. So BOST is in a unique position where sometimes you hear people saying that, but is BOST supposed to make profit? My answer is yes, because we are a limited liability company. This is our network. Now, I will use this network to explain the political economy of BOST. So you can see these blue icons. They are all my tank farms where we have our locations. So we are in Tema, Accra Plains, we are in Mami Water, we are in Akosombo, we are in Kumasi, and we are in Wipe and Bolga. We are interconnected via various transportation mediums because fuel has to be moved from one place to another. So if you look at the sea, the Atlantic Ocean, when the ship comes, depending on what the ship is carrying, if the ship is carrying crude oil, it will go to Tor because BOST is not a refinery. And Tor will refine. When Tor refines, some of it will come to BOST. But when we buy fuel, finished products, the petrol and the diesel, when they come, it goes straight to our tank here. Not only do we buy, we also store products from third parties, bulk distribution companies. So when theirs also come, it goes straight here. Now these lines, the orange lines, are pipelines. So we are connected to this jetty, it's called a CBM, where it's a pipeline, flexible pipeline, where it's pumped into our tanks here. Once it gets here, it has to move to the rest of the country. There are four main transportation mediums. The first one, which is the most expensive, is what all of you know, the tanker drivers, the tanks, BRVs, bulk road vehicles. It's the most expensive because it uses fuel, you need to pay salaries to the driver, they move it from one place to the other with all the risks. The next most expensive is this, barges. The barges, because the tugboat pushes the barge and it also uses some fuel, but it's more safer and it's less cheaper than the road. And one barge can take about 50 something trucks. One barge, yeah, huge. Can take about in Ghana, yeah, it's on the Akosombo Lake. So one barge here can take 50 something trucks. And then the next least expensive is railway. When you travel, you see the railway cabins, huge one. They're all carrying oil, plenty from one place to other. But we don't have that in Ghana. And then the least expensive is pipeline. The pipeline, once you install and you bury, that's it. The thing just flows, oil just flows from one place to another. So if you look here, we are connected from Tema through Mami Water to Akosombo with a pipeline. And then when it gets to Akosombo, it goes straight into our barges. 6 barges. 4 belongs to us, 2 belongs to VLTC. Once it gets to the barges, it is pulled all the way to the north, Wipe, and it's discharged into our tank farm here, which serves the northern part of the country. Now, we have a pipeline between Wipe and Bolga. So once it gets here, we're able to pump to Bolga, ready for export. In Kumasi, we don't have a pipeline. So for Kumasi, we use trucks to carry the fuel from here to Kumasi. Sometimes we use trucks to go to Akosombo when this pipeline is not working. But the key thing is that this is the BOST infrastructure. This is a plant. We are not in Western region. So this is a plant terminal in Western region. So this is our infrastructure. Now let me go to the political economy. So imagine all of you are transport owners and you have trucks and your livelihood depends on the trucks. Would you want the BOST pipelines to work?
No.
Okay. Would you want our barges to work?
No.
See the way I was saying? So you don't want it to work. Good. Now, imagine some of you are politicians. There are some politicians who also own some of the trucks, belonging to both sides, my side and the other side. So when it comes to BOST, is it possible that you guys can come together to say that, Charlie, this thing shouldn't work because it will kill our business? Is it possible?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the political economy. When BOST gets efficient, what do you think is going to happen? When your company calls, and so would you be happy? Would you want the managing director to be kept there to make BOST efficient? So this is the political economy.
So he's telling you the unspoken truths.
The moment we came, 2017, I will go to the 2017. So let me just stop here, I'll show you. So it is not in the interest of a lot of powerful people for BOST to be efficient. It is not. They won't give me a hug. Anywhere my pipeline passes, it means that it is traffic moving off the road. If I use my badge, it is traffic moving off the road. So when you see the tanker drivers demonstrating that BOST is not doing well and they have no products to move around, what is the actual truth? What is the real truth they are not saying?
They are not saying that.
They are not saying that what?
Their businesses are suffering as a result of you transporting the product through the pipes.
That's it. That is it. So that is why we are public enemy, me and my board chair and Malik. But the company belongs to Ghana government. You are shareholders of this company. So should we keep BOST not working so private people should make money? So that is the dilemma. That's the whole political economy. So in 2017, when we came, check here. We came to meet a trade liability of $624 million. Not cedis. Think about it. $1 million in 2017. This means that some people had brought in products. We had bought products from suppliers, but we haven't paid. We hadn't paid.
Or you traded at a loss.
Or
so you couldn't pay that amount.
You traded at a loss, so there was no money to pay. Now, there's this assumption that BOST should hold strategic reserves. When BOST is holding strategic reserve, that means that yes, BOST can go and buy at 20, keep, and sell at 10. That's the loss he's talking about. Are you with me? So when you sell at 10, so I can come and say, oh, Charlie, my boss, let's buy this product. Then we buy it. then I sell it back to you at 10. Are you with me? You buy at 20, I sell it to you at 10. Or maybe, I should just say, maybe let's assume that price really went down. That one too can happen, and other things that can happen. But whatever it is, we came to meet a trade debt. We owed suppliers $624 million, whether through losses or through missing products. That's what it was. Not only that, we are taking some guarantees from some banks, and we had legacy loans totaling about 284 million Ghana cedis hanging on BOST head in 2017. Not only that, some BDCs have brought their products to BOST. When they were coming for the product was not available. So we had some BDC claims estimated at $37 million US. And then we have some capex liabilities, some exim guarantee loans we had taken that the project hadn't been completed, about $109 million. So you take over a company and instantly people are in court with you. They want their money.
Just a point of correction. The BDC claims came in 2018.
2018.
In November 2018, we received a letter claiming 37 million for products which was lost between 2009 and 2014.
Yeah.
And the claim came
2014.
2009 to 2014 for 37 million. The claim came in 2018 November.
Yes. So you take over, 1 year later, you get a liability of 37 million, which happened between 2009 and 2014. Thank you, Butcher. So this is the financial wahala on BOST. Not only that, we have bought some pipelines since 2008, President Kufuor's time. The pipeline was in Houston, part of the Exim money. As of 2019, the pipeline was still in Houston. It was lying in the rain and the sun with the equipment. From 2008, it was there. Then our 6-inch pipeline from Tema to where? Akosombo was out of service. Our Bolga to Wipe pipeline, B2P3, Bolga to Wipe pipeline was out of service. And then our marine facilities, the barges and the tugboats that in Ghana here, Akosombo, they are there when you go there. That one too was not working. My board chair talked about some depots that had been shut down and were not working. 3 out of our 6 depots were out of service. We still had staff going to work. 15 out of 51 tanks had been decommissioned due to lack of maintenance. So, your assets, pipelines, marine facilities, depot and storage tanks that can make you money had all been shut down. And so we had only 17% of our revenue earning assets operational. 17% as at the time we came in. Also, these years, we hadn't audited the accounts. So we came in blind. We had some tax arrears, 47 million, that we hadn't paid. Our BOST margin, which is what we are supposed to use to maintain the infrastructure, was 3 pesos. And to remain 3 pesos till 2019. From 2011, it was 3 pesos. 2019, it was still 3 pesos. What can you do with that money? Nothing. So maybe that explains why all of these were not working. Maybe. Let's assume that we didn't have a lot of money to do the maintenance. And then we have some legal liabilities. 161 million. These are people who are taking us to court, and we knew that we were going to lose. And a lot of them, if you tried approaching them, they won't mind you because they know you will lose the case and they will get their money plus interest and plus everything that they deserve. I'll show you some of the case. The Husk Oil is one of them. The Generation Investment is one of them. And there were others. Totaling 161 million Ghana cedis. So, if you take over a company like this, isn't it scary? That's why I praise my board chair, because he was not scared of this. I came to meet him there. He wasn't scared because he knew that he was going to do something about it. So these are the details, the people we owed. So if you look, Trafigura, Gambo, all these, even GMPC, we owe them. Products supplied, we hadn't paid. Legacy loans, I told you 284, it's been 285 million. Stanchart GCB, we hadn't paid. The BDCs who we owed 37.6 million, we hadn't paid. We owed all this, and they were all on our neck. And then the Exim Bank, the 12-inch pipeline that was stuck in Houston, and then some other monies as well. So look at the state of our budgets in 2017. They were rotting away. Look at the tanks. And so these are existing infrastructure. It was only 17% asset that was working. I've already talked about all these already. Poor repairs and maintenance culture. Because of this, when a truck entered the BOST depot, it took them 4 hours to come out. Our competition was doing it within 1 hour. So we were not attractive in any way. Also, because of the huge debt, no bank was prepared to even sit with us to talk. For us to say that extend us credit, let's bring in products and let's pay. Nobody wanted to touch BOST, no bank. Now this is, you see, Houston. These are the skids, the attachments to the pipeline, lying in the sun. It's one of them, rotting away. This is money taxpayers had borrowed to use, rotting away. Then our head office, you saw the Wahala. You know the Wahala.
What period is this?
Oh, this one, I went there. It was bought in 2009. But when I went there, it was in 2019 to go and inspect. And I remember going there and the people from BATV, oh, another MD has come. And they started laughing, white people. I'm sure they are like, these people, they are crazy. You have all this asset here, and MD comes, MD goes, they just come and look at the asset and go back. Nobody brings it home, takes it home. And they were charging us for storage. They were charging us for storage. You know, white people, they don't play with their business. So that's it. Then this head office. When you mix politics with business, the outcomes are always not in your favor. Because when somebody signs a valid contract with you, they have a valid contract with you. So if you decide that you are going to halt the proceedings, their contract is still running. And if they go to court, they will get the judgment they deserve. So we came in, we paused this for 6 years. Price now goes up. I'll tell the story later. But we met a lot of work in progress. And then there were these containers as well, which had some new equipment in there that was supposed to be used for some projects. As I speak to you, the equipment is still in there. We are now about to start the project this year because we had some financial challenges we couldn't meet. So the contractors also were not prepared to come and deal with us. As we speak, we have abrogated the contract. We are now going to do procurement to upgrade all our depots again. And some of the equipment are in here that we'll use. But guess what? It's been 6-7 years. So it's possible that there will be some equipment in there that may not work. There will be some equipment in there that the technology will be old because there are new technologies now. But We'll deal with it when we get there. So this is how we met BOST. Very pathetic as a state-owned entity. But because, like you all said, because you are all rational people, you will be happy as tanker owners when BOST is in this state. Alright. Okay. So since my board chair took over, what has happened? Let's look at the money we owed. We owed $624 million US dollars. As of today, $611 million have been paid. Out of the $611 million that have been paid, BOST IGF accounts for 70%. And government money is only 30%.
Wow.
What does that tell you? That the company has potential. Huge potential. Yeah. And no oil company should run at a loss. We had some loans, $284 million, I said, so it's 285 actually. BOST has paid 187 through IGF. Government helped us with 197. That was the Standard Chartered loan. The balance is a running loan now, which we paid down to this. And hopefully by next year, we would have finished paying the Fidelity loan. It's a running loan, a dollar loan. So, this is what has been achieved. And it's no mean feat. Now, why did we do this? Business is run based on trust and credibility. So as we started paying the people, the banks realized that, oh, credibility is being restored. So what that did was that the banks also decided to, some of them had the courage to say, okay, let's sit down. Now we can see that you are doing the right things. And some of them started giving us LCs to bring products. So from 10 million, fast forward to today, we have 68 million LC. As I'm talking to you, there's another bank preparing $25 million LC for us. And it's all because when you owe people and you pay them, it restores trust and confidence. So this is the financial side. Now this BDC matter, 37.6 million. So this one, I give it to my predecessors. When they came in, they said, oh no, we should look into this matter again. So when I came in 2019, there was a committee that had already been set up to look into the matter again. All I did was I added Yoko and BNI to the committee. And the result of that internal forensic audit is that the $37.6 million became $10.1 million. I don't know. All I know is that we used to owe $37.7 million. When we finished the forensic audit internally, with national security and everybody there, the people signed that we don't owe this, but we owe this. I don't know. How can I know? Do you know what happened, Bali? Maybe you have an idea. Me, I don't know. You were in the committee. Yeah, me, I wasn't in the committee. I don't know. So, almost $27 million were going to go into people's pockets free. So we saved this country a whopping $27 million, which we would have paid to people because it was signed. We owe them.
Was it possible the other loans you have paid would have gone down the same way?
No, the loans that were correct. There were documents, everything.
Yeah.
Solid.
So I think this basically was after a very intensive reconciliation exercise, which was evidence-based. So you know, we asked the BDCs to bring their documents and we compared them to ours. So at the end of the day, it's the documents that will tell the story. So you cannot sign off on something different from what you can evidence. So you claim so much, but then you're only able to bring documentation up to this extent. And that's what was verified. Yeah. So the long and short.
On the 37, almost $38 million, were there documentations on there?
That was the claim.
There was documentation, yes.
The documents that came was just 10 million. The 27 million, there were no documents.
No, he said
There were documents.
Yeah. You see, what happened was that, in fact, some of them ignored the fact that they actually owed us product as well. So their claim was one-sided. I mean, if you're coming to some of them, so if you're coming to claim something from me, knowing that you also owe me, you would surely do yes, you net it off and then come with that balance. But that's not what happened, you know. So when we came up with the evidence, then yes, we have to net off. And so, well, we thank God that the figure came down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who prepared this 37 million pen? This 37, how did you get this? Before the reconciliation.
One of the big four came to do this job.
Who?
I won't mention I can't mention their names. One of the big four. You know the big four accounting company?
Yeah.
One of them.
Oh, okay.
So one of them came to do. They've told me they are so they get unhappy when I mention their names, so they beg me to stop. So I've stopped.
Off the record, you can share.
Later. Anyway, so this is we pay down and the balance.
Speed it to our performance,
Yeah.
financials. Yeah.
Our balance is now $5.8 million, and we are paying them regularly. We have signed since my board chair came. He has signed 2015 audited account, 2016 audited account, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 3 days ago he signed 2021 audited account. So now when the banks come, they say, give me your audited account, we're able to give it to them. When they analyze and decide whether they want to do business with us. When investors come, they ask for sale. But we didn't have it at a certain point in time. Okay, not only that, we have repaired the 12 out of the 15 tanks. We have fixed the pipeline. My board chair brought the pipelines from Houston to Accra.
I carried them myself.
He carried them himself and brought it to Accra. We've done some remedial works on this pipeline. We have done a lot of work. The barges are back on track, all of them. We fixed the jetty. We've done so much work here. We've also taken out old equipment, brought in new equipment, replaced. We've done some HR issues. There were some HR issues as well that we've corrected. Because of all of this, we started exporting to Mali. Our exports to Mali has grown from 0.3% in 2019 to 6% of Malian imports in 2020.
Yeah.
6% exports to Mali. And you see, when we talk about the exchange rate, if we take advantage of this African Free Trade Continental Agreement, because when we sell to them, they pay us in dollars. We can let this thing happen seriously. We've started the fee, front-end engineering design for LPG tanks.
No.
So my network, have you forgotten the network? To Akosombo, badge straight to Bolgan.
Yes.
Yeah,
They bring their trucks.
They bring their trucks.
Yes.
Come and take. We've also started a feed for Accra Kumasi. This when I do this one, the people will kill me. You know that. Because today, their only business today is Accra Kumasi. You guys, the tanker with us.
Yeah.
But if you are the tanker owner, like you said, you'll not be happy.
So really, what should happen is the NPA has a zonalization policy, and that policy means that you collect fuel from the nearest depot within your region. You don't cross zones, come from the north all the way down. And that really was because the BOST system was developed that way and established that way. So the tankers really are supposed to be collecting from depot to petrol station, depot to petrol station, the nearest. But they supplanted the business model, and they were rather doing what BOST should have been doing. So they come from all the way from the north, pick from Tema, and drive all the way back again. Highly inefficient and very expensive also for the country. So these are some of the, the MD is taking his time to really explain to you not just the mechanisms, the operation of the company, but also, as he says, terms the political economy. What is actually behind, the various interests which are involved within the business.
We need to build pipelines, so we'll do it. So here, what the minister has agreed to is that the company that will be set up to build this pipeline to Kumasi will give the tanker owners equity. They have to come and buy 20% of that company, so that as we displace them, they can have some shares.
That's right.
In there. Now, because of everything we've done here, we used to take 7 days to load our barges, the 6 barges. As we speak now, we do it in 2 days. So in 2 days, all the 6 barges are full and they are ready to be pulled to the north. That's serious operational efficiency. The interdepot loading time used to take 4 hours. Because of what we've done here, it now takes us 1 hour 30 minutes. When we do the upgrade, which I said is going through procurement, we'll bring this to 1 hour, so we can be competitive with everybody. Now, you all know in graphic, here, there are policies and procedures. So if my board chair has signed off 15 new policies, what does it say in the past about what happened in the past? Remember that there were no policies. So today, we've put in place policies, boundaries around our way of work in BOST.
Yes, I think that's one of the interesting things, because when you read or listen to some of the scurrilous allegations that are made, it suggests an organization which is not regulated or run without any rules at all or procedures. We as a board have had placed a very strong emphasis on corporate governance. We discovered that policies, departmental policies, existed only in draft. They had never been signed off by the board. We reviewed the policies as a board through the board subcommittees, working with the respective departments, and often had to rewrite them. I remember the finance subcommittee, I attended some of their meetings. We spent 15 hours before we redrafted the policy and finalized it. So we've placed a very strong emphasis on corporate governance. And I say it's quite ironic that the picture that is portrayed is one of virtually a jungle where anything goes. It's exactly the opposite. And as a board, we haven't stopped there. Not only have we placed emphasis on the policies which are governing the work, but also as a board, we have introduced reforms. We have a board charter, which was never in place. We have established charters for all the committees of the board, and we have 5 of them. We signed them off, we've implemented them. We have an induction policy, and we've also established a risk committee, which in corporate governance now is one of the most important committees, because you are deemed to be effective if your policies, your processes are based on risk assessment, which you've done. So our policies are risk-based, and we have make sure that they cascade right from the board through to the various departments. So there's a major emphasis on corporate governance, and I think this has led to some of the efficiencies which we find internally have improved performance.
Yeah. Now, all of that has culminated in us increasing our revenue earning assets from 34% to 95%. You are shocked. Yeah, it sounds like a story, but you will see the numbers. You will see the numbers, and you know it's not.
It's not a fairy tale.
It's not a fairy tale. From paltry 34% to 95% as we speak. All the pipelines are back up. All the 15 tanks, it's left with only 3. All my badges are back online. And so when we go into the finances, you will see the numbers justifying this thing. So it's not a story, it's real life. And it can be done. It can be done in all SOEs. It's possible. So these are the policies. And then the head office. It's built now. I took this picture yesterday. It's built. But there's a story around the head office.
The famous Twin Towers.
The famous Twin Towers. I took this picture yesterday and I added it to the presentation. So I'll come back to this. So all these things, and so what? Are we feeling it in our pockets? Is the nation getting value for putting us in the helm of affairs at BOST?
Are we squandering the resources?
Are we squandering the resources? I'm now going to go into the numbers, the bottom line. And I'll start with the revenues to show you what's happening here. So this is a revenue trend from 2016 to 2021. So you can see from 2016, total revenue here, we've had our highest ever 3 billion series in 2016, 3 billion. Product sales accounted for 2.7 billion. BOST margin accounted for 105 million. And then storage and rack accounted for 54.7 million. Okay. Marine transport, 0. So the badges were down. Now the reason why the storage and rack was very high here was that in 2016, nobody was allowed to build any tank farm. So let's do the trend. So 2016, remember, was an election year. You remember? Yeah. So 2017, we came in. Obviously, some of the oil that had been bought, some were in stock. So yeah, we did well. 2018 was our lowest with us in government. Now 2018, so this was a spillover from here. But in 2018, no bank, the companies who gave us open credit, the people we owed, we hadn't paid them. We stopped supplying. So the stock ran out in 2017 to 2018. And they were not prepared to give us anything. No bank was prepared to also give us any LC to bring in inputs. So whereas in 2016, we brought in about 36 cargoes, in 2018, we brought in 1 cargo. Because we owed and we were not paying. The people were not prepared to give us open credit anymore. The banks were not prepared to do business with us. So 2018 was our lowest year. Then we started picking up again. 2019, 2020. So gradually you can see some growth. Now, if you look at the product sales, so this is the trade, buying and selling of fuel. Same trend. It did started picking up and it doubled in 2021. BOST margin went down, came up here. 2019, I did some lobbying through Malik played a very critical role in the board and the ministry, and they increased it by 3 pesos. Yeah, this guy also contributed. So, I mean, I did some extensive stakeholder engagement. So the CSOs all got involved, and they said no, it should be doubled. So it was doubled for us, and then that's the trend. Storage and rack, as at 2017, 2018, our infrastructure was down. So you can see the lowest revenue. And then we started fixing it, that one. So you can see all the things I talked about. You can see storage. And then that's it. So in 2021, $53 million from $16 million. That is huge improvement. So you see, it's not a fairy tale. If you look at the marine transport, 0, 0, 0, 0. We fixed it, it started operations in 2020. 2020, late in the year. 3 million cities. 2021, we got a full year. 14 million cities. Almost 5 times. So whatever we were doing, this is the numbers to justify that we're doing the right thing. And we're not squandering the money. The same revenue numbers are here. You can see that. Now check this. In 2016, an election year, what is the amount there? Administrative expenses, how much is there? Say it well. Huh? 538 million Ghana cedis in 2016 election year administrative expenses. You see that? Normally, as the years go by, there's something called inflation. So you expect that the money should go up. All right? Reasonably. You check. Our staff numbers have increased from 347 to 498. But in 2020, an election year, with an increased staff strength, what is the administrative expense? This is where you have salaries and maintenance and everything. And we have fixed a lot of infrastructure that year. How much is our operating expense? We reduced your salaries. We didn't reduce salaries. So
The only salary that's been reduced is his.
it's mine.
Through government directive, 30%.
So you see, the year we made our highest revenue is the year we made our highest operating loss. 456 million cedis operating loss. So look at the trend. Look at the trend. 2021, 228 million. It's still not up to the 538 million in 2016. In 2020, our operating profit was 28, almost 30 million. This is what I said, that profit before tax was 30 million. This is your underlying business. And the underlying business is showing that we have migrated from a 456 million CD loss in 2016 to a 254 million CD profit in 2021. This is your business. This is your business. So that's it. Now, in 2021, we made 160.7 million Ghana cedis profit after tax. This is money that comes back into the economy. Because it belongs to the shareholder. It belongs to all of you. Now we need to reward our people, so we need to pay them some small bonus for the wonderful performance they have done. For almost 11, 12 years, we made losses till 2021. It's amazing.
One interesting thing is the same people who were working and making the losses
are the same people churning this profit. It's amazing. Despite the flux in the house, because of the policies and procedures, you work. You work. And that is the result. And these are audited accounts. 160.17 million Ghana cedis profit after tax. You ask me, how did it happen? But watch it. Maybe you want to chip in to your skills.
Well, how did the profit come about?
Yeah, they say the people.
The same people.
The same people. How?
Oof. Well, I think part of the story which you haven't talked about is the performance management system which you've also implemented. So in terms of the human resource capacity, this addresses it. So the assessment of individuals is carried out on a regular basis. So they are motivated to meet certain targets which are set for them as individuals. So the idea of the team mentality where that kind of, no. What is your specific role? What is your specific output? And your remuneration, your bonus, etc., will be based on your individual performance. So I think that has also helped in a great way. But what does the balance scorecard? We don't want to go too much, but it's the balance scorecard. Yes, approach. That's the strategy. Yes. But a lot of the processes, as you've seen, they've been regulated through the adoption of the policies, and they've also been rationalized and made more efficient at the same time. But then if you are utilizing your assets, this really is the minimum that should be expected.
Yep.
And as I said, that we have re-established the business model. The company was set up not to make losses. Large infrastructure companies, oil companies such as ours, should by right make profit. But we need the profit so that we can reinvest in maintenance, in expansion, in upgrade. These are basics. A company should not be living from hand to mouth, going cap in hand always to government. We need to be bailed out here or there. No. If that's the case, then it has no right to exist. It means that it cannot compete in the marketplace. So this is what the BOST story is. And as I said, for us, this is the minimum. We intend to forge ahead. We have plans for further expansion. And we hope that we can improve upon this performance as we go on.
Our strategy is very simple. Operational excellence and grow the business aggressively. Operational excellence means that all our dead assets, bring them back to life. Put in place a performance management culture. Make sure that people will do their work. Do make regular maintenance of the equipment so they don't break. The revenue and any assets growing from 34% to 95% is operational excellence. So bring them back. Sweat your assets, your money, save costs. See, we could have spent 1 billion cedis in 2020 because inflation, if you hit inflation and for depreciation on the 530 something million, it could have been 1 billion and we could have justified it. But no, very cost efficient. Justify the cost, justify everything. Everything you have to justify. I know it brings some friction between me and my staff, but this is taxpayers' money. It's not our money. We earn salaries, so we need to keep the assets in good condition and sweat the assets for the taxpayer. And that is what we're doing. The next one is aggressively grow the business. So our exports. Our exports is aligned to aggressively growing the business. The new pipelines we are coming to build is aligned to aggressively growing the business. The LPG plants we are about to build is aligned to aggressively growing the business. The training of our staff is aligned to aggressively growing the business because that's a human resource, and we got to grow it. That's why we went to Harvard. We took 3 of our people to Harvard, me and 2 others. So we are growing the business in all regards, and a lot of that will happen. But we can't do that in a vacuum. We need to build a great performance management culture, and we need to turn the BOST brand around. Our detractors have decided that no, the guy has fixed the place now. Let's get them out and let's put some people in there. Because if they're able to pay the $624 million, then there's money to be made. There's money to be made. And it's true, there's a lot of money to be made. This 160 million profit we made could have gone into people's pockets. Alright? Easily. Because in 2016, it was 538. We could have made it 1 billion. Another 500,000. And we'll go into a loss situation. But no, yeah. A board chair is not from that school. So this is how we measure our strategy. That strategy is what? This simple thing. This is how we measure it. We measure it around 3 key elements. The money, the asset optimization, and then the turnaround time. So for turnaround time, it used to be 4 hours. Now it's what? So the 4 hours, we had a gap of 3 hours to bring it to 60 minutes. Now it is 1 hour 30. We now have a gap of 30 minutes. And once we do our upgrade, we will do it. Asset optimization, I told you, was 18%. We wanted to get to 70%. The gap was 52%. As we speak, we are at 50%. We now have a 20% gap. So we are on track. Revenue market share, our target for 2024 was 3 billion. 2021, we achieved 1 point something billion. We saw the revenues. We have a gap of 2 billion. The good news is that as I'm speaking to you today, this revenue that we achieved in 2021, the whole year, as I speak to you today, my trade revenue alone has surpassed this revenue. As I speak to you today, I have 5 more months to go. That means that by the end of the month, I will be hitting 2 billion. If God is good to that. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And so this is how we measure our performance in BOST. You know, the man talked about a balanced scorecard. I'm a balanced scorecard teacher and champion. I teach it. And the originator of the balanced scorecard is Kaplan and Not. They taught me personally. So one of the reasons why I went to Harvard was to go and sit in David Kaplan's class again. And he asked me, why are you here? I'm like, no, I didn't come because of you. Your partner, there was another instructor, Bob Samuels. He's an organizational theorist, solid guy. Because my blind spot was his strength. So the reason why I went for the course and took some of my people was to learn from, not from Kaplan, who is the balance scorecard champion, but learn from Bob Simons, and then he laughed. But it works. It can work in daily life. It keeps you focused, makes you take out the sharp, the noise, and lets you focus and hold people accountable. Because now we report everything. Everything we do, my board chairs, on my board chair's iPad, he sees the company performance live. Live on his iPad. Live. How many sales are coming in? I mean, there are plenty KPIs. It's live. So it works. Yeah.
What this demonstrates is that the media landscape has changed from what it used to be. So whereas we had in the past established media who had a code of ethics by which they practiced their profession, the same is not the case now. But we have a wider reach of information. It goes around the world. So it's easy, if you are of a certain motivation, to make certain allegations. With the established media, the code of ethics mandate that you cross-check, you verify before you publish. But we see that that is not the case. So we find ourselves sometimes running on a treadmill, constantly answering to allegations of malfeasance, etc., which have no basis at all. And I think that really means that our relationship with organizations such as yours is of paramount importance to us, because you have a certain reputation and certain credibility as well. And being state-owned as well, we take you as our development partners. So if we've come here today to take a lot of your precious time in explaining some of the issues, this is why we are here. And I'd like to say that our doors are always open for any inquiry or explanation that may be needed, that may come up. We do have a lot of confidence in your organization and that you stand for the verified truth. So we really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
For more news, visit graphic.com.gh or log on to Facebook at Daily Graphic and on YouTube at GraphicGH.
Subscribe now.